Hi, this is Ken once again. Welcome to Prayer Line. Precious one, today is the day the Lord has made. We'll rejoice and be glad in it. Precious one, I want you to know that we are living in a prophetic time clock or timeline. Everything that you watch on the news or you see around you is showing that Jesus is coming back soon. And this world is certainly coming to an end. So we have to prepare ourselves for the soon return of our Lord Jesus Christ. You know, the Iranian are saying that any country that dares to back Israel to attack them, they are going to retaliate by also attacking that nation. Israel is thinking of attacking or bombing Iranian by spring, the place they are trying to they are doing their oil, their uranium enrichment program by spring. Americans do not want to get involved in air combats right now. For instance, on Sunday, President Barack Obama said on Sunday that there were important risks to consider before any military strike against Iran, and made it clear that he does not want to see more conflict in the oil-producing Gulf region. In a television interview, Obama also said that he did not believe that Tehran had the intentions or the capacities to attack the United States, playing down the threat from Tehran and saying he wanted a diplomatic end to the nuclear standoff. He said any kind of additional military activity inside the Gulf is disruptive and has a big effect on us. It could have a big effect on oil prices. We've still got troops in Afghanistan, which borders Iran, and so our preferred solution here is diplomacy. A diplomatic talk with them. So the Obama administration doesn't want to back Israel with an airstrike. He feels that that's not what is right for the United States right now. And in fact, if there be any war between Israel and Iran and also the United States, oil prices are going to shoot up, and believe you me, we are going to be directly or indirectly going to be affected by wars, definitely, because not only are they going to send your sons and daughters and husbands and wives to war, oil prices are going to go up and it's going to affect everything. Already this country is going through so much. So all these things are to let us know that some of the things are inevitable. You can't stop it. These are prophecies manifesting. We are living in prophetic timeline. Even though these guys are trying to think that they are deciding what to do, they don't know that prophecies has already been declared. We are in the end times. Then you hear about wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, tsunamis, global economic meltdown. We are in the end times. Very soon, Jesus is coming. Very soon, very soon. The world is coming to an end. The world is coming to an end. I'm not here to fix dates. Nobody knows the day nor the time Jesus is coming. But all I can tell you that very, very, very soon, Jesus Christ is coming. We will be hearing a trumpet sound in the clouds. Jesus will be coming with his holy angels. The dead in Christ will rise up, and those of us living will be caught up with him. After that, there will be the great tribulation for almost 7 years, and then the man of peace will be doing that great tribulation. Will be there. People cannot buy, sell until they have the mark of the beast, the 666. Do you understand? You can't buy or sell if you don't have the mark of the beast. And if you receive the mark of the beast, you are doomed eternity in hell. If you avoid the mark of the beast, the 666, you are going to be tortured. Now is the time for people to make up their mind and accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and personal Savior. Because now, he's a free gift to you. He's the only way, truth, and life. And all you need to do is to accept him, and you will have eternal life. To avoid him, you may miss the rapture, go through the tribulation, and end up in hell. So please, make up your mind today. Make up your mind today. Today is the day of salvation. Don't miss this opportunity. You can die tomorrow. And if you die without Jesus, you go to hell. People die every day. I can die today, you can die tomorrow, every day. And if Jesus comes tonight, today, tomorrow, are you ready? Or are you going to be left behind? It is time you wake up. And if you are a Christian, please, this is the time for you to have a glimpse of eternity and live for eternity. You can't play church, you can't play hypocrisy, Christianity. You can't be looking at to the earthly things. You have to set your mind on heavenly things and prepare yourself. Jesus Christ is coming very soon. God bless you.
Iran is warning the U.S. to stay out of the region, saying the Western power will regret any aggression. A spokesman for Iran's Joint Armed Forces chief made the statements Monday amid tension over the country's nuclear program.
We believe that the U.S. doesn't have the ability to take military action. In the meantime, we will strengthen our military abilities day by day.
UN nuclear inspectors began a visit to the country Sunday to determine the nature of its nuclear program. Iran is mulling responding to sanctions from the U.S. and EU by halting oil exports to some countries.
We will respond to any threat or aggressive action in a crushing manner. Our response will definitely lead them to regret their actions. We hope that this doesn't happen. If it does happen, however, history will prove whether it is Iran or the U.S. that just talks.
Iran did not carry out an earlier threat to take action if the U.S. moved an aircraft carrier into the Gulf, when the U.S. did so last week. Lindsay Perietti, Reuters.
Fox News alert on growing concerns about the possibility of armed conflict breaking out between Israel and Iran. Welcome to America Live, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. We have a big story unfolding in just the past 24 hours. First, a top Israeli government official announced that Iran is developing a missile with the capability of hitting the United States, saying that project is, quote, aimed at America, not at Israel. The range of the missile reportedly 6,000 miles. Shortly after that, Defense Secretary here in the United States, Leon Panetta, reportedly said Israel will likely launch an attack on Iran as soon as April in an attempt to derail Tehran's nuclear program. Secretary Panetta does not dispute that report, suggesting the administration is purposely trying to stop or slow Israel's plan. National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin is live at the Pentagon with more. Jennifer, what are the military leaders saying about this?
Well, Megan, there's been a lot of parsing of words of what Leon Panetta told to David Ignatius, the national security writer for the Washington Post, in which he wrote that Panetta told him that he was concerned that Israel would strike in the April, May, June timeframe. Reporters traveling with Panetta in Brussels at a NATO summit in Brussels asked him to clarify his remarks. Here's what he said, quote, "Are you disputing what he's reporting? No, I'm just not commenting." In Iran today, the president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, made a public display of observing a satellite launch as the supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei, called Israel a cancer during Friday prayers. Panetta's remarks outlining a time frame for an Israeli military strike on Iran, one former U.S. government official argues, could have been designed to draw attention to Israeli intentions to carry out a unilateral strike in order to delay it. It also might have been used to get the attention of NATO members in Brussels to how serious Israel is taking the Iranian threat to get more support for sanctions. Others argue that Israel has not yet taken a decision to strike. Otherwise, Israel's defense minister would not have been telegraphing their intention to strike so publicly as Ehud Barak did during a speech in Tel Aviv yesterday. Republican lawmaker Representative Peter King of New York criticized Panetta's remarks.
Israel is our closest ally. We should be very reluctant to get in Israel's way. Having said that, this is not the thing that should be this type of issue that should be discussed in public. This should be behind the scenes between two close allies.
Former Defense Secretary Robert Gates told CNN yesterday in an interview that he thought the decision about how to handle Iran's nuclear program, whether to use the military to strike, is the toughest foreign policy decision facing a White House in the past 45 years. Megan?
Wow. Jennifer Griffin, thank you. Well, we first learned of Iran's nuclear ambitions back in 2002 when it was revealed Tehran was developing a uranium enrichment program since the late 1980s. Those activities were halted in 2003 because of the Iraq War. The nuclear program was later resurrected. We did some research and found centrifuges at the nuclear site are churning out uranium to 20% purity. The facility is a hardened tunnel and is protected by air defense missile batteries. Built next to a military complex, it was kept secret until identified by Western intelligence agencies in 2009. Well, a spring attack against Iran would not be the first time Israel has targeted neighbors in the Middle East. This is cockpit video shot in 1981 from an Israeli warplane bombing a nuclear plant in Iraq. That strike condemned by several countries, including Great Britain and France. France actually helped Iraq start its nuclear program back in 1975. Just 4 years ago, Israel launched a barrage of airstrikes against Syria. Some reports said the strikes wiped out weapons destined for the terror group Hezbollah. Other reports said they destroyed a nuclear reactor under construction. Coming up right here, Ambassador John Bolton weighs in on the new conflict and a new threat from Iran's supreme leader, warning Tehran will retaliate against the United States if we back Israel in this reported plan. We'll speak with him shortly. Fox News Alert with a new back and forth on the growing threat of war in the Middle East. Brand new hour here of America Live. Welcome, everybody. I'm Megyn Kelly. Bold new rhetoric from Iran today after reports that Israel is preparing to attack the Islamic Republic's nuclear program. Iran now offering help to any nation that, quote, confronts the cancer of Israel. This amid word that the Jewish state is strongly considering a military strike that would cripple Iran's quest for atomic weapons, while the United States is urging restraint because America could end up caught in the crossfire. Leland Vittert is live in Jerusalem. Leland, what is the reaction today in Israel?
Officially nothing from the Israeli government, Megyn, but the war drums continue to beat here. In fact, the defense minister for Israel yesterday said often when you wait until the last minute to do something, you find out that later is too late. And Iran is, of course, engaging in the same war of words. The Ayatollah spoke to a huge crowd yesterday or today, and he said essentially that cancer is what he called Israel, and he said Israel needs to be cut out of the world, that cancer. And the entire adoring crowd returned chanting death to Israel in this whole thing. For Israel, there is a little bit of an issue here because there is a thought that they cannot attack in the same way the United States does. Israel doesn't have the necessary weapons in order to attack Iran. So May to June would be the best time weather-wise for Israel to do it. And if they wait much longer to be able to attack, they may not have enough weapons to actually end the Iranian nuclear program. So for Israel, it's a much more time-sensitive issue, and that's perhaps what the U.S. Secretary of Defense was leading to. There is a significant risk of retaliation from Iran into Israel here if there is indeed a strike on the Iranian nuclear facility. Iran today released a video of them launching a small satellite into space. The fear is that if Iran would get a nuclear bomb, which experts say could take about 18 months, they could then put it on the top of one of these missiles. You're talking about then Israel in the crosshairs of a nuclear Iran. For retaliation, you have the intercontinental ballistic missiles from Iran fired into Israel. You also have Iran's proxies. That's Hezbollah up in Lebanon, Hamas and Islamic Jihad there in Gaza, who could both fire missiles here into Israel if indeed Israel does decide to hit. The problem we're looking at here, Megyn, is Israel says that at some point Iran will reach the point of no return. That could be as soon as 6 months. And Israel says no matter what, it will not allow Iran to get the nuclear bomb, conceivably leaving open the option for a military strike before reaching that point of no return. And with the weather angle put in there for a military attack for flying jets here from Israel into Iran, experts say somewhere between March and June is when that window is optimal. Megyn?
Leland, thank you. As Leland mentioned, in some respects, Israel versus Iran would be like the Battle of David and Goliath, though in this case, David still has some serious firepower. The entire nation of Israel is only 105 square miles, which is roughly the size of New Jersey. Iran, on the other hand, 591,000 square miles, about the size of Alaska. Israel has about 176,000 active duty soldiers. Iran has about 545,000. When it comes to air superiority, Israel has about 433 combat aircraft. Iran has half that number. While on the high seas, Israel only has 5 submarines. Iran is thought to have upwards of 23. Just ahead, a man who's been consulting on this scenario for years. Ambassador John Bolton joins us live to explain the real likelihood of this happening, an attack by Israel on Iran's nuclear facilities, and what that would mean for the United States of America. Back now to our top story this afternoon. Reports that Israel is inching closer to a possible military attack in order to stop Iran's nuclear program. The Islamic Republic responded to those reports today by offering to help any nation that, quote, confronts the cancer, referring to Israel. Quick look back at the history of U.S.-Iranian relations. January of 1984, the U.S. declared Iran a state sponsor of terrorism. As of 2010, the State Department still considered Iran the most active state sponsor of terrorism. The Islamic Republic has now ignored 5 UN Security Council resolutions demanding that it stop enriching nuclear fuel. John Bolton is the former U.S. ambassador to the UN and now a Fox News contributor. Ambassador Bolton, thank you for being with us on this important day. Give us your perspective on this news.
Well, I think the reaction that you're hearing from Iran, the continued threats against Israel, the terrorist threats against the United States, reflect their concern that indeed Israel is coming very close to a decision to use military force. And I think Secretary of Defense Panetta's decision to announce when he thinks Israel might conduct that attack is intended to take public something that's been underway privately, and that's Obama administration pressure against Israel from using military force. I think it's a mistake, but I think it shows just how far the Obama administration is prepared to go.
This was first reported by David Ignatius of the Washington Post, reporting Panetta's alleged remarks, or reported remarks, that that he believes there's a strong likelihood Israel will strike Iran in April, May, or June. Panetta was asked whether it was true, and he declined to comment. He didn't deny it, he declined to comment. You say, Ambassador, that this is essentially Panetta trying to get the word out publicly because we're trying to deter Israel from doing it in this manner?
The Obama administration has put unrelenting pressure on Israel for 3 years now not to use military force, and I think they're worried that they're not succeeding, as we've seen from some recent comments by senior Israeli officials, that they know just how close Iran is to nuclear weapons. They don't plan to let that happen. So having failed privately to stop the Israelis, I think the administration's going public. You know, perhaps next Defense Secretary Panetta will say what he thinks the Israeli flight path is or what their order of battle will be.
You know, he's already, well, the administration is taking some criticism for doing this today. We played a soundbite, we have it here, of Pete King, Republican on the House Homeland Security Committee, and he had this to say. I want to get your reaction.
Israel is our closest ally. We should be very reluctant to get in Israel's way. Having said that, this is not the thing that should be this type of issue that should be discussed in public. This should be behind the scenes between 2 close allies.
Do you agree?
No, absolutely. The Iranian nuclear weapons program is not simply a threat to Israel. It's a threat to the United States. It's a threat to friendly Arab regimes in the Middle East. It's a threat globally, given Iran's support financially and through arms supplies of international terrorism for decades. And the idea that we're prepared to let Iran have nuclear weapons, which is the sum and substance of what the Obama administration is doing, is terribly worrying. Another piece of important testimony this week was the Director of National Intelligence saying that all of the sanctions in place to date against Iran had not affected its nuclear weapons program. That means that all of this effort has had zero impact. It's no wonder Israel is getting closer to a decision whether or not to use military force.
Now, according to that same report in the Washington Post, the United States, the administration is conducting intense discussions about what an Israeli attack would mean for the United States, how we would react, what would happen when Iran would inevitably retaliate. And the conclusion is that the administration favors staying out of the conflict unless Iran directly hits U.S. interests. Would that be a realistic option for us if what is, in essence, a war breaks out between Iran and Israel?
Well, I don't think we will be able to stay out, and I don't think it's in our interest to stay out. Look, the use of military force against the Iranian program is a decidedly unattractive option. There's no doubt about it. It's risky. It has potentially significant consequences. But the choice that we face is not between life as it is today compared to life after an Israeli military strike. It's life after that strike compared to an Iran with nuclear weapons. So if you don't like Iran as the central banker of international terrorism, prepare to conduct terrorist operations on American soil, threatening to close the Strait of Hormuz, engaging in terrorist activity worldwide, imagine how much worse it gets once they get nuclear weapons.
As a practical matter, if Iran did this, if Israel did this, and Iran engaged in a full-scale retaliation, and there are questions about how equipped it is to do that, would the United States have any choice but to get involved in that conflict?
It would depend for the Obama administration on what Iran actually did. I think the most likely Iranian retaliation would be to unleash Hezbollah to rocket innocent Israeli civilian populations. That's one of the reasons this is such a terribly difficult decision for Israel. I don't think Iran would attack American forces in the region. And if they did, I think our response should be devastating.
Ambassador John Bolton, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Wanted to clarify something that our good viewers caught us on. We had some bad information earlier on the size of Israel. We apologize for that error, but wanted to tell you that the size of Israel is 8,000 square miles. 8,000 square miles, not 105, which is what we said. So thanks to our viewers for that, for noticing that. We don't always get our numbers right, but we try to correct them when we don't.
Some new information for you now on a possible military showdown in the Middle East. Israel warns that time is running out on stopping Iran's nuclear program, indicating Tel Aviv could be closer to launching an attack in the coming months. The growing drumbeat of war raising concerns across the region and especially in Washington. Judith Miller is a former Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative reporter and a Fox News contributor. She is just back from that part of the world. How worried are the Israelis about the possibility that Iran gets a nuclear weapon soon, Judy?
They're extremely worried, John, and I was last night listening to the Israeli Defense Minister Ehud Barak express his concern that America and Israel may be on very different timetables with respect to doing something dramatic about Iran's nuclear capability. What Ehud Barak said to this group that I was fortunate to be present at was, doing something later may be too late. And the Americans, of course, don't want to do anything until after November, when Barack Obama has already had his re-election contest.
I suppose it's easier to feel safer here in America. Iran, even if they were to get a bomb, they don't have a vehicle to deliver it. Israel doesn't have that security.
They don't have that security, and Iranian missiles can already reach Tel Aviv. That is the problem. The Israelis told me, and I met with them all week, they said, look, you are far away. Their missiles can't reach you. We are a one-bomb country. We can't wait and take the chance that the Iranians may be deterred by our force. And, of course, they never say that they also have nuclear weapons. But they want the Americans to do this with Israel if the sanctions fail. There are a lot of psychological games being played now, John. People are saying things to influence one another, and they're also saying things to influence the Iranians, because that's ultimately the party that has to decide to suspend or stop its program if it wants to avoid severe action.
Well, you mentioned people saying things. I mean, Defense Secretary Leon Panetta said earlier this week that he's afraid that the Israelis might launch some kind of a strike against Iran to try to take out those nuclear facilities, perhaps as soon as this spring.
Exactly, and he said that because he was just going into a NATO ministerial meeting. He wants the NATO allies to do more on sanctions, to do more to increase the economic pressure on Iran so that a military strike may not be necessary. Right now, those sanctions aren't scheduled to take effect until the summer, and the Israelis say, hey, let's do it now. If we really are serious about sending a message to Tehran, let's send a message loud and clear. Sanctions now, oil embargo now. Otherwise, the Iranians may misinterpret our seriousness.
So the feeling often is that Tel Aviv and Washington work hand in glove on some of these issues. On this one, they seem to be going in different directions.
Well, I think they're working hand in glove in terms of the intelligence, and I was very surprised to see that the Israeli assessment is almost identical to the American assessment about Iran's capability, about when it's likely to be able to acquire a nuclear weapon. The difference is on the timetable about what to do about it when. The Israeli clock is just much shorter and much closer to midnight than the American clock.
Judith Miller, thank you. Judy, we'll talk to you again a little bit later on in the hour.
Good to be back.
In that city, there'll be peace.